Our next report here tonight is a love story that could change the lives of hundreds of little girls who desperately need it. It begins with a young couple who find each other despite some incredible obstacles. But what they did next is so remarkable. Chelsea Clinton traveled to the other side of the world to find out more.
Yeah, so welcome to Kibera.
Thank you.
So this is my home. This is where I grew up.
Kennedy Odede was born in the Kibera slums of Nairobi, Kenya. And now it's not just his home, it's also home for his American wife, Jess. Kibera is one of the poorest places on earth.
And when you say the poverty is worse on this side than the other side of the tracks,
Yeah,
what does that mean?
the houses, these are more like tin and mud.
Homes cobbled together from scrap metal and mud. Kibera is a crowded and dangerous place to live for an estimated 1 million people.
The government's not really here.
No, the guy is not here.
No one collects the garbage. There are no roads, no sewage pipes, no electricity, no public schools, no hospitals. What is here? Malnutrition and disease. Kibera is home to Nairobi's so-called forgotten children. But there are exceptions. Like here at the Kibera School for Girls. Built by Kennedy and Jess, the school is their labor of love, a vision to give 100 little girls, like Vanessa Ioma, their best chance to beat hopelessness.
It's all about our dreams.
At only 8 years old, Vanessa is already a survivor, having battled both malaria and cholera. She's one of the school's most promising students.
How do we figure out other ways to get to 32?
I met Vanessa the day I was asked to help teach her math class. She's smart and very sure of herself. But without this free school, Vanessa would have no future.
There are some community schools that are started by people in the community, but they charge. If families are forced to choose, which they are, is they send a boy to school instead of sending a girl.
That's exactly what happened to Vanessa's mother. Esther became a child bride at 14, forced to give up her dream to study medicine.
I am lucky the time I find this school. I see my baby can take my dream.
Esther's new dream? That her daughter becomes the doctor in the family. Dreaming is something new to these kids.
Your dream can come true by having confidence. Your dream can come true by believing in God, by going to school every day.
So the school teaches girls like Vanessa
My dream is to be a doctor.
they can dream big.
I am a strong woman.
I believe in myself.
I believe in myself. I am a conqueror.
Along with that self-confidence, the girls gain the skills needed to pursue their dreams.
Why do you all like Clifford so much?
Because Clifford was a good dog.
A good dog. Clifford didn't mean to make trouble.
All classes are taught in English, a vital tool for overcoming poverty in Kenya. The school has become a lifeline for many in Kibera. Unemployed mothers run a sewing cooperative in an empty classroom. The school's health clinic and water tower help 6,000 families a day.
My children use this water, no longer sick.
Also critical? Giving these 100 girls a safe haven from their often violent surroundings.
It's really even hard to talk about, but 27% of our students have been sexually assaulted, and these are, they're tiny. They're 4 to 10 years old. The kids that you were reading the Clifford books with.
And then to your right.
We can provide a safe space that protects these girls, that makes them feel special, makes them feel like they can get over things.
Positive role models help speed the healing, and there's no better role model than Kennedy. Once a homeless boy,
Mr. Mayor.
now known as the mayor of Kibera, who taught himself to read and write. And with Jess's help, he received a scholarship to attend college in the U.S.
Kennedy Owiti Odede.
Kennedy graduated last spring with honors from Wesleyan University.
It does not matter where you come from, only where you want to go.
Clearly, both of you have had a profound impact on many people in Kibera. We met so many children
who have been named after you.
Yeah, there are a lot of Kennedys and a lot of Jessicas. It's sort of an overwhelming thing. I always feel like we don't deserve it yet.
For Kennedy and Jess, this means coming full circle. After a June wedding, the couple decided to postpone their honeymoon and rushed home to Kibera to be with their girls.
The numbers are so grim when you hear them, you have to prefer to concentrate on things like Clifford is a good dog and go with that sentiment. Chelsea, what's the long-term prognosis, and why not sprinkle the countryside with programs like it?
Well, certainly Kennedy and Jess are hoping to expand, and they've already been able to expand the school that we visited this year in January. The school year starts in January, unlike September. They were able to take 40 girls instead of 20 girls into pre-kindergarten, so there'll now be 140 girls in this school. And they're hoping to build a second school and health clinic and water treatment center in another neighborhood of Kibera.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here today. And this reminds me of I remember when I was your age, you know, in Kibera. So where should I start? I think I should share my story from the beginning. Is that okay? Yeah. Where I come from? Yeah, okay. So I grew up in Kibera. So Kibera slum can be compared to Central Park. You have been to Central Park? New York. Yay! Got it. So Central Park is a park in New York. Imagine Central Park lives more than 1 million people. No bricks, chins, maybe the mud, barn houses, and they are all close to each other. Okay? No running water, no schools, no government services, and too many people living together. And their kids and women suffer the most. So it was a hard life that I passed through as a kid. I had to wake up early in the morning when I was 5, walk for hours to bring water because we didn't have water. We don't have a tap like here, you know. So that's really hard life. And who is the eldest kid in the family? Can I see the hand? Woo! Okay. So in Africa, if you're the eldest one, it's not good. Because of a lot of pressure. So much pressure. The family is looking at you. So I suffered a lot from that pressure. I had a very strong mom, like your mom too, who was a very strong woman who helped me. She used to wake up very early in the morning to go look for food by doing housework for other people. And imagine in Kibera to have 1 meal per day. You are so lucky. People spend days with no food. And even that 1 meal that I'm talking about, if you get it, it's never enough. My mom tells me, Kennedy drinks a lot of water. So there's no day in our family that in Kenya that there was a remaining meal. After eating, it was over. So we never got enough. So it was really hard life. And being the first one, being the eldest one, out of age, too much pressure. So that's why I had to sell peanuts by the roadside to people. So I was a businessman when I was a little boy, going around and put them in a paper and selling them to people so I can buy food for my family. So I started getting people at a very early age. Sometimes I get money, sometimes no. So it was really hard. So there was a hard life that at the age of 10, who is 10? Oh, not 10, 11, 13, 12, woo! when I was younger, 10. Think about this. I want to talk. It's not about me. It's about us. I want to share this story. So when I was 10, I ran away and I became homeless kid. I want to ask myself, why did I run away from our house? No school, no food. When you're sick, nobody takes care of you. Nothing. So I was looking for survival. You know, where I can get food. So I ate from the garbage. Sometimes I used to go to where there's some middle class place where they could throw away bread and they could eat that from the garbage, you know. Because and then what is funny is that I never got sick. So funny. Eating from the garbage, but I never got sick. That became my life. Staying in the cold at night, selling the bottles during the day to survive, and taking some money back to my family so I can buy them food. My mom was not happy. Nobody was happy. How can you be happy if your kid is homeless? But they found themselves powerless. Just imagine your parents, how could they feel when they think that they can't provide? Not because they're bad, but because there's no job. Many people are looking jobs in Kibera. It is so horrible. So that was really hard life for me. As a kid, I saw other kids with their bags going to what we call informal schools. I was crying. I wish it was me. I never had an opportunity to go to school. It was so hard. Anytime I tried, I was chased away because of school fees. I was even crying to have a homework. There's no one to give me homework. So that I can feel that I am going to school. It was so sad to know that I can't be a teacher. I can't be a doctor. I can't be a lawyer. I can have a dream because I'm not going to school at a very early age. Just imagine, guys, knowing that you don't have this opportunity. Not because you don't want to go to school, but because your parents can't afford. That's the sad part. And how do you think it was for my sisters and for my mom? Today is kind of a talk about women. I think my sisters and my mom really passed through a lot. But she was always a strong woman. She believes in education, but she couldn't afford. That's the sad part about it. She believes in it, but she can't provide it. So, and I remember, so what do I do? So I was hungry for education. So I taught myself. I could walk on the streets, collect the old newspaper, try to read, understand the words. There used to be a very small parish in Kibera, Catholic parish, and go there and disturb. I was an altar boy too. I used to be an altar boy. That's how I survived. And ask the priest, Father, what does this word mean? So every day I disturb the father because I love reading. Until the priest got tired and bought me a dictionary. So I got a dictionary. So I was so lucky, I got a free dictionary. So every time I was reading my things and highlighting the things that I don't understand. You know how much you're being taught how to pronounce things? To be honest with you, it's sad that nobody taught me that. Nobody. I don't know how the letters were sounding. I made them up. Nobody taught me how to put this. I was hungry for education, and I worked hard for it. And I was writing poems in our single room, you know. So something happened, despite all this struggle in the society. I met a young man from Ohio who I helped him with some work in the community. In return, I asked him just to give me food because I knew to get a job is difficult. So he was giving me food. After I worked with him, he was doing a research, he was giving me food. At the end of our work, he gave me a biography of Martin Luther King Jr. Who knows him? Who have heard about him? Woo! Perfect. The guy inspired me. I read the book very closely in my house. Wow. Why do we complain in Kibera? This man that I don't know, somewhere in America, born in a struggling family, comes up and so touched by his community that he wanted to do something. Started from him first, to his family, to his church, and to the entire nation. And I'm like, this guy inspired me. I think we can also do something in Kibera. Because the issue in Kibera, we felt hopeless. We felt there is no value of life. It was hard. Even you guys now, let's say that you are living this place now, you go home, there's no food. You have nothing to look forward for. You have no homeworks. That's your life. Like, you have nothing to look forward for. That's hopelessness. That's what's happening in our life. We felt like that. So, but Martin Luther's story inspired me. So one day, when I love this part, I was lucky. Lucky because I got a job. I woke up early in the morning to a place called Industrial Area. Industrial Area is where you find the poor people of all kinds from Nairobi. You're on a queue. And you wake up early and they'll come and count up to the number they want. To get that factory job is luck. Because in Kibera, those who are having meal, but those who could afford meal, were the people who were working in the factory. The rest could not afford it. So my dream was like, oh, I wish I get a job one day in the factory. So I got a job in the factory. It was a gas cylinder factory. I tell you guys, it was a horrible job I ever done in my life. Hot environment. They were mistreating people from Kibera. And they were even abusing us, telling you like, you never went to school. Work. You can't breathe. You know, I was crying all the day working there because these people don't understand how much I loved education, but I was denied opportunity. And now, the foremen are making fun of us. Like, you never went to school, now this is your life. It was sad to me to know that my parents were poor. My grandparents were poor. And I'm also now into this poverty, where I'm earning in this factory $1 a day, working for 10 hours. Although the plight of my community never ceased away from me, so I was working there, I was thinking about my community. I asked myself, why do kids not go to school? Everybody wants their kids to have a better education. Why Kibera like this? So I used 20 cents from my job. Guess what I bought? Say it loud. I got it. I bought a soccer ball. And soccer ball made a movement. Movement is when people come together for a common goal. This movement became so strong. And it was a challenge. Because in life, you will face this as you grow up. When you have a good idea, people telling you that it can't work. So people told me, Kennedy, you can't. I said, why I can't do this? You don't have money. And I'm like, what? Money? Do we need money to change our own lives? Do we need money to make our environment look clean? Do we need money to fight violence against women? I said, I don't need money for that. You know? And they were challenged. And we at the end, at long last, we all agree that you don't need money to do good. So we made a movement. We have to look for the name. The name was something that giving hope. So you have to think of something that gives hope to the community. So the name became what? You can guess. Yes.
Giving hope.
We are almost there. The name became Shining Hope for? Shining hope for girls, no? Who wanna try? Shining hope for somebody?
They're on the posters all over the place.
Shining hope for communities. Who said that? Woo! Clap for him. Yeah. So it became a shining hope for the communities around it. People are now seeing hope. People felt that they were valued. And then guess what happened? It became a huge movement. We were doing theater. We were doing soccer. Our soccer was the best in Kibera. We won a lot of cups. I'm number 9, by the way. Huh? and it really became a huge thing. Then we became the role models to our community. People see us doing cleanups, doing theater, doing this kind of event. But my dream was one. I was not happy the way my mom was being treated. She was being abused, beaten. My sister too also passed through a lot of challenges. And I saw the world through the lens of my mom and my sisters. So what happened here was that my dream, I said this, when I read the old newspapers, I see some women in the cabinet. I see women, few of them trying in a high-profile offices. But when I look around my community, I see women being beaten. I see women being denied education. It was so sad. When you go to Kibera schools, informal schools, the ratio of boys to girls was so different. You will find like 50 boys to 10 girls. If you ask them why, girls will get married. As Lee Cutler said, Mr. Lee said that, you know, they are being forced to marriage. So they don't see something good in women. And that was really, and when they say they don't see anything good in women, they are telling me they don't see something good in my mom and my sister. The only solution, one day if I get resources, I will build a school for girls, where girls will be free, where they will be respected, where they will have their own environment, and teach the community to see how much, if you give these women opportunity, what they can do. So something happened. So I met somebody, so there, called Jessica from Western University. She's a lady from Colorado, came to Kenya to something called Study Abroad Programs. And she worked with us in the communities, and we get to know each other well. Then she helped me, and I also helped myself, to get into Wesleyan University. So, what are we learning from there alone? You know, I want to make this a more discussion. We're learning one thing, that no matter what you are passing through in life, it can be in school, in class, struggle, myself at Wesleyan, with no really basic education, you know, Wesleyan is a very, very good school, you know, so that tells you something. At Wesleyan, I still thought about my community. So Jessica and I won a grant of $10,000 US, and we went back. And the dream came true. Kibera School for Girls was built. So, as we are now thinking of Kibera School for Girls, think about what that school meant for women and the entire community. And Robbie is going to show us something else now. But now we are at Kibera School for Girls. Yeah. That's a philosophical question. You're very smart. What's that? So, how do I answer that? So let me think. So what's happening is that I passed through hardship, poverty, and all those things. But what's happening is the struggle that I passed through build me who I am. So I take things positively, instead of complaining a little bit, but I feel much more, even right now, kind of crazy to say this, somehow I feel lucky to have passed through those hardships. I wonder, who could I be if I never grew up in Kibera? Will I understand poverty? Will I understand other people? So I feel like that poverty and struggle built me to be who I am. So by that moment, I was mad. I didn't like it, But thinking now, I think I feel much that I passed through it. It makes me more different. Why? I do appreciate a lot. I appreciate everything. Everything makes me smile. Food makes me smile. Water makes me smile. When I open the fridge in the States, I'm like, wow, look at this. This is food in the fridge. Because I think of my life back. You don't have fridge, So that's how I'm able to connect myself to the reality, to where I came from. Good?
listen up. You can be anything in the world, you only must realize that it ain't no guarantee. Nothing's in the way of what you wanna be. So follow your dreams, always shoot for the stars. No matter which direction, you be sure to go far. This is our first step as we get an education. This nation won't stop us from the push of limitation. Today we learn to write and read. Someday we'll bloom as flowers, now we plant the seeds. You will not be surprised they can do anything. The only 6 and 7 they can show you how. Someday they'll look back and say, that was then and this is now.
I know I can.
Be what I wanna be.
Be what I wanna be.
If I work hard in it,
If I work hard on it,
I'll be where I wanna be.
I'll be where I wanna be.
Hey, what's up? This is Kennedy. Proud to be part of the community. Kibera School for Girls, yeah, I believe. If we band together, we can achieve anything and everything with education. One day you will be pride of the nation. Life is hard, but we'll get through. I have so much hope and in all of you. Let's say it together. We believe in shining hope for communities to change the world. If there's a will, there's a way. Let's all hold hands because the future starts today. I know I can.
I know I can.
Be where I wanna be.
Be what I wanna be.
If I work hard on it,
If I work hard on it,
I'll be where I wanna be.
I'll be what I wanna be.
Yo, Kibera, tuko pamoja.
That something could happen to your school?
Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, so what's really happened in Kibera is that I worry less because I gave it to the community. You get? So I give you an example. So when there was election in Kenya for the presidential election, community around the area came out in big numbers, in large numbers, to surround the school so that nobody can do loitering when there's violence, you know, in Kenya. So that's how it is that shows me that people have taken that thing as their own. So I always don't have that worry. Those who are worried are the community, you know, because they know that people know what's happening, what is really, how it's helping their life. Yeah, and then I also have a strong belief in Kibera, where I grew up. And I don't see, I don't know, but I'm not really much thinking about that.
Who teaches at your school?
So we have teachers. Some of them come from Kibera. Some of them are from outside Kibera. So what happened is that we brought in teachers who grew up in Kibera, through missionaries. They got a good job outside. But when they heard that there is a school in Kibera that is very good, they were willing to come back. So half of my teachers are from Kibera, who no longer live in Kibera now because of their status.
I think it was, why didn't you eat the peanuts with your family?
Instead of selling them.
Oh, instead of selling them.
Yeah, so it cannot really fill you, you know? And if you buy the peanuts and eat them, that means that tomorrow you need another peanut. How will you buy it? Simple math. But at the same time, by selling the peanut, we are able to get some cash, and we're able to buy like kales and maize flour, so that we can cook a meal. Because peanut is not a meal, and it will become like a business. So I buy peanut, we sell, we buy food, we sell another one, like that. But when I was hungry on the road, I was eating some of them.
When you were a kid, how long were you on your own for?
I stayed on the street for like, I can say 2 to 3 years. But honestly, most of the time we were alone because our parents really didn't care much. We were left alone in the house. So we kind of raised up ourselves, to be honest. Yeah, but on the street, I think it was 3 years on the street.
I have a question. To help the students understand money in your country, how much would you say the person on average earns per year?
Teacher, I'm not good in math, but I'll try. So let's say average person in Kibera earns $1. So
Per day.
Per day. So that means you earn $30 in a month. So those who are lucky, say those who are working in a factory, and then 30 times, and this means that they don't count it every day because you don't go to work every day. So let's say Sunday no work, so it's around $26. 26 times 12?
About 300.
300 in a year. And then the rent, my rent was costing us $5 in a month. But we used to have a lot of areas.
How big and heavy were those water jugs?
How big and heavy were those water jugs, and how far did they have to walk with them?
Mine personally, I carried I carried the 50 liters of water on my ear. Women head, men in the shoulder. The highest one I remember I carried for 2 hours. There was a shortage of water in Kibera and we have to go to another region to bring water walking. I remember it was like 2 hours. It was really annoying. And normally you can do with before to water tank, or people were coming to our water tank now are walking like 30 minutes.
Repeat again. You say that again? What can the community here in Cold Spring Harbor do to help you in your community that you work with?
Yeah. So one simple thing, if you ate those tasty chocolates from, there's a chocolate being sold around here, that money is only coming to the girls in Kibera. And then as a group, you can talk to Teacher Robin, and she's really interested in working with us and see how you can do. We can also have pen pals, writing letters, and the girls in Kibera really, you can also send sometimes the writing equipment, like books, pens, and they love socks. I don't know why they love socks so much. Those guys, they love socks. So if you can do a try for socks, something like that, can be really amazing.
We could put out some information to help you guys, as you said, pens, pencils, notebooks, and socks. For us to collect that. And also tonight as a presentation, also where your parents, and you could come again tonight, and I'm sure there'll be an easy avenue for people to make donations to help with this organization.